Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm so happy to share with you today what I'm calling the joy of refined living. And part of spiritual teaching is to let people know something that a lot of us don't know. And that is, you can refine your life to a very simple way of living without anxiety and living joyfully despite your circumstance. That's what the evangelicals would call the good news. This is the... So every spiritual teacher is purporting to say, the good news is you don't need to be fearful. That's the good news. If you want to be fearful, you can be. If you want to have a very difficult life, if you want to suffer, if you want to make effort out of everything, do it. There is no extrinsic benefit to living peacefully and joyfully. I'm not going to live any longer than you. Wayne Dyer was 76 years old, and he, purported to have claimed to have found this great fulfillment in life, and he lived to be 76. Jesus Christ died at 33. So it has nothing to do with living longer, but living to the fullest. That's what this is about. Extracting the full benefits of peace and joy now, regardless of how long you live. So this is not a lesson on how you extend your life. This is a lesson on how to make life obscenely easy for yourself, to the point that you can run a multi-billion-dollar enterprise with your pinky. Now, wouldn't that be nice? To manage your life with such ease, it almost feels stupid. Well, wouldn't that be sort of a naive way to live? Yes, but it takes some understanding. And it also takes some understanding and knowing that you don't have to. You can live a difficult life and still live as long as anybody else. But the question is, why would you want to when there's another way? Hence the good news. Living is a skill. It's a skill set that, unfortunately, doesn't come with a universal user's manual. But there are ways to find user's manual to living refined and living joyfully and peacefully. So the first thing is, I want you to think of living as playing a musical instrument or engaging in some kind of complex activity like ice skating. I want you to think of art as living as art. Okay, so first of all, it requires you to understand that living is a practice, because there's no getting there. Nobody gets anywhere. Living is a practice. That's the first thing to understand. Now, what makes life difficult, what breeds suffering, is working for the future and holding on to the past. Okay, so what we're trying to do is to refine life to its lowest common denominator. All right, sounds good. So you want to learn how to play the piano. You are attracted to people who play the piano. Let's say that you would love to develop any skill like that. Well, the first thing you have to do is read the user's manual. Now, before I go on, there are exceptions to people who do not need to use the user's manual, do not need a teacher, do not need guidance, and those are prodigious people. Those are what you would call geniuses. Albert Einstein was a genius at intuiting the universe. He had insights that didn't come from coaching or did not come from a teacher or a manual. It kind of just came to him. Mozart had the same kind of insights about music. He was prodigious. And arguably, Jesus was the same way. We don't know if Jesus had a teacher or went through some kind of Zen training. The Buddha didn't have a teacher. Some people are gifted in the delivery of truth and wisdom. They're gifted teachers in the depths of existential things. Some people seek out a teacher to help them refine their life and to live more joyfully. So one might become a spiritual advisor. And that's what they help you do, is to realize you don't need all of the effort you've been putting in, and you don't need to make life difficult. It can be easy, in the same way that ice skating is easy. Ice skating looks easy, and it is easy at a level of refinement. So is playing the piano. But there are pianists and ice skaters that make it look difficult because they haven't mastered the effortlessness of it, of refining a skill. So if I want to play the piano or the harp or any kind of artistic, expressive skill, I'll need to read the user's manual. Number 2, I'm going to need to spend a lot of time alone. On my own, even if I had a piano teacher. The 10,000 hours that it takes to get into the effortlessness of performing on a musical instrument is done alone, behind closed doors, and through a lot of frustrating clunkiness. So when you touch the piano, your hands feel like bricks initially. So when you start developing a sense of who you are, living feels like this monolithic, you're carrying around a brick, this heavy image of self. So the joy, refining life to the joy of it, is a vanishing act in the same way as a concert pianist sort of vanishes in the midst of a stormy Chopin mazurka or a Liszt prelude, Franz Liszt. All these octaves, if you watch a pianist play, it looks effortless, and it is. It's easy at a certain level because they spent hours and hours and hours of repeating it. Now, we would love to just be able to sit down and play a beautiful piano sonata like that. Wouldn't that be nice? So everybody's searching for a pill, a quick fix. But the good news is not a quick fix. It's a discipline. It's a practice. And so you lock yourself into a room. When you read the manual, you name it, the Tao Te Ching, the writings of Buddha, the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, the Surrender Experiment, the Untethered Soul, you name it. There are users' manuals that outline this ease of living and this hidden joy in the disappearing act of spiritual practice. Meditation, yoga, you name it. The resources are out there. In the same way that the resources are out there available to you for a healthy, strong, vibrant, aesthetically pleasing body. But imagine, the good news is you can have an aesthetically pleasing, muscular, lean body. You don't have to if you don't want to, though. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that if you want to move the body effortlessly, get the weight off of it. In the same way as if you want to learn how to be a concert pianist, get the weight off of how difficult that is at first. So you chisel down. That's what practicing is chiseling and disappearing and chiseling this image of self and how hard this is. You are reducing. The good news is to take away, disappear, vanish, chisel, and refine. refine, and you will find the source of effortlessness. Deep within this image, this disappearing image of the separate self. And you are not separate from the music. You are not separate from the ice skating. You are one with it. Through a love of the repetition. If you don't like to practice, how can you be a successful concert pianist? If you don't like to practice, how are you going to have a successful, easy, joyful life? Are you going to fill your bank account with money and think that's going to help? No. You can buy yourself a Bösendorfer grand piano and buy all the sheet music in the world. You can build yourself an opulent music room, and you'll still have hands made out of bricks. You can watch ice skaters ice skate all day long. Go buy yourself a pair of ice skates and try to do a triple axel, and you'll fall on your face. You've got to put in the work. You've read the user's manual, and they all tell you to meditate, to be quiet, to do nothing, to sit still, to journal, to do yoga, to get away from the noise. Every day. Hours and hours and hours. But you have to want it. I can't make you want to refine your life and be joyful and effortless and easy. All I can do is demonstrate it. You see, the Buddha came out of the cave after 7 years, and he got all of this wisdom and understanding and peace. Well, basically, you got to go in the cave. You got to be alone. You got to do the hard work, so-called hard work of disappearing. It is hard to chisel down the image of the separate self. It's just this mammoth blob of marble that you're carrying around with yourself, reaching into the past and future, trying to play the piano when you don't know anything about it. The thing is, read the user's manual, practice the practices. Be a disciple of yourself. You are being refined, and pain is a signal that you're not doing it right. You're putting too much effort into something that doesn't require anything. When I play the music of J.S. Bach on the organ, which is arguably the most complex and difficult music, I do it better when I don't interrupt myself. I do it better if I have it memorized. I do it better if I get out of the way and allow my fingers to move. I've refined. I have gotten out of the way. I didn't clamp down on that stuff that moves so fast. An ice skater clamps down on something and they fall. You clamp down on your circumstances and it gets difficult. The key is to remain loose, relaxed in all situations. So you play your B-flat major scale, you relax in the easy situations. Like if you're driving along and the stoplight turns yellow, notice how your butt clenches. Got to mash on the accelerator. Practice is restraining from that aggression. You see. That's spiritual practice. You start with the easy things. Getting cut off in traffic and not reacting. Pass those tests, and then you can go to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and you can get into highly complex things like Bach and ice skating and all this stuff, and you can do it like a champ. And people are mesmerized. See, that's the thing. We see the ultimate result of hours and 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 hours of practice, and we want to know how you did that. Oh, you have to meditate, and you have to pray, and you have to read the user's manuals, and you have to spend time alone in the practice room, slaving over making it easier. slaving over it to extract the intrinsic joy of effortlessness and oneness with each simple nanosecond of time. No, I want a pill form. I want it fixed today. I want to stop anxiety today. I want to stop suffering today. Okay, you can. Develop a practice. Read the user's manual. If you're going to read the Bible, read the Psalms and the Proverbs and anything Jesus said and put the book away. Then read the Tao Te Ching. Then read all these other things. There's bookshelves after bookshelves after bookshelves of the good news. You don't have to work so hard. And you don't have to suffer. And you can refine living to the point where you realize it doesn't take anything. It's so easy, it's obscene. But you can't just con yourself into thinking that. You have to do the practice of relaxing in the most complex storms and knowing that you're okay. And that the key to advancement is relaxing more. As the heat is turned up, you are able to relax even more. Which means that you are trusting and trusting and trusting. And trusting is a practice. Trusting it's okay. Trusting knowing that effortlessness, relaxation, and joy is the refinement of being comported. Living is a practice, friends. Do you practice? Do you enjoy practicing? I can relate to this as a musician. I loved practicing. I had to spend time alone in a tiny little room with me and the keyboard and the music. And I was gone. All the outer world, to shut out the outer world, to figure out how easy life is. Yes, it's isolative. Yes, it is. But oh my God, I never knew the ease of it, the effortlessness, and the joy of refined living. And I want to tell you it's here, but it takes some work, labor, practice, progress. You don't perfect it. Nobody has perfected life. But you can get as good as like Yo-Yo Ma on the cello. He practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and he still does. And he plays with this effortlessness that heals. Wouldn't you want to be that way? Just live with this effortlessness, this joy and this love. Well, you got to do a vanishing act from your circumstances, and you get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and you dive into the middle of it all until you're gone. And with each activity, you dive into it more intimately. It is a vanishing act that makes life joyful. That's the good news. And that's what I'm here to share with you. Are you willing to practice? I hope I've fired you up about the incremental advancements of refining a skill, the skill of living joyfully. It's a practice. Join me. My name is Ryan Hebert. If you enjoyed my insights, please check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com, and I am so glad that you made it through this video, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.